Welcome back to the channel for another video. Today we're back in the seat talking about Wrexham Football Club. We have got multiple topics that we're going to be talking about in today's video. FA Cup draw, contract news, a new employee has been employed at Wrexham Football Club which could take the club to the next level, and we're just going to be having a general overview of what's happened at Wrexham over the past couple of weeks. So before we get going in today's video, if you're new watching this video and you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure to go down there and click the red subscribe button. We're on the road to 26,000 subscribers. I cannot thank you enough for all the support you've shown me over the past couple of videos. It massively means a lot, and let's see if we can go for 650 likes on today's video. And yeah, it'll be on screen here, everyone who has supported the channel further. I cannot thank you enough for that. I feel like the channel is progressing this season. Of course, there's more content being pumped out, there seems to be more people enjoying it, the channel just seems to be growing, which is really great to see, and I cannot thank you enough for all the support you've shown. So we're going to be starting off with the FA Cup draw. You might have been watching it live the other night on BBC Sport. We were drawn away to Harrogate Town in League 2, probably one of the worst teams we could have drawn in the draw. Of course, we played them 3 years ago in the FA Cup. Oh, we got Harrogate away. Oh, no. Oh, we've drawn Harrogate Town away. We got knocked out in that 2-1 defeat, but you think 3 years ago we were going into that FA Cup game as underdogs, and this time round we're going into it slight favourites with Harrogate coming in as the underdog. So I think that just shows, how much we've grown as a football club. But having said that, we are expecting us to win against Harrogate Town. They're a league below us. We're hopefully going to field a strongish team because, the FA Cup is a bonus. It's good for revenue bringing in. It's, good to get that potential big tie. And of course, this would take us to the second round, which doesn't make any difference in terms of the teams coming in. It's the third round where you get the Championship and the Premier League teams. But just to go through and increase our chance of getting a big team as the rounds progress could definitely happen, of course, if we beat Harrogate Town. And I am slightly expecting us to go to Harrogate in November and get the win away at them. Yeah, in my opinion, I would have liked a home tie. You always hope to get the smaller teams like a Horsham or a Tonbridge Angels who are in the draw. Of course, for some teams they could be, a potential banana skin, but I think for Wrexham, I would like to have seen us get a comfortable draw and a draw that would have seen us probably go through to the next round. But, like I said, it's a good draw like I've just spoke on Harrogate Town. On paper, you think they're a league below us. It is going to be a good draw. It increases our chances of going through, and I still do think we're going to go through. But you've got to look at it from a point of view where in recent times we've struggled when we've gone to Wetherby Road. And could that be different now that we are in a higher league? Potentially, but the stats don't lie. We have struggled there in the past couple of seasons, but I don't think there'll be any pushovers, so we're going to have to be on, our slight A game, and I think we will see a couple of changes, but still field a very strong team. They're not going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be a tough-ish game, so let's hope we can go there and get the win. And one thing I do not want to happen is to be forced to a replay to the racecourse ground on a Tuesday night, because that would just be a massive headache in regards to the scheduling and the already big schedule we've got in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, and of course the really competitive League One fixtures that we do have. Moving on to some contract news now. Our big number 9, Ole Palmer, has signed a new contract extension which will keep him with the club until the end of the 25-26 season. So basically, we've got Ole Palmer for another 2 seasons. This is definitely deserved for Palmer. Of course, he came into the lineup at the back end of last season and really impressed alongside Paul Mullin. Those two finished the season on absolute fire, and he's brought that form into the starting 11 in League 1 this season. It's a big step up going from League 2 to League 1. Palmer's just taken it into his stride. He's playing his usual game and he's really impressed, like we've said. And I think I saw something on the Wrexham website. He boasts the incredible record of never losing a game that he scored in at Wrexham Football Club, which is absolutely ridiculous considering he scored 44 goals in all competitions for Wrexham. So let's hope that stat can continue throughout this season. Let's hope we can see many more Ole Palmer goals. So if we're talking on impact, he has such a big impact up front. Of course, you've got that Jack Marriott alongside him, the player that will do all that running, will press, will probably be the fox in the box, that will find themselves in those positions to, get the goals and tap in. And Ole Palmer might not score as many goals as a striker would like to, but he is just so incredible in what he does. And, there's been times where people have doubted Ole Palmer, and I think there was a patch where he did have a rough patch of form, and I don't think he was at his greatest, but he's just turned a new leaf ever since we were back in the EFL, and I think he's really impressed for us, and a player that I've been really impressed by. And, like I said, he's led the line really well alongside Jack Marriott, and let's hope he can continue, because 2 promotions, 44 goals, and a big fans' favourite at Wrexham Football Club. We all love Ole Palmer, and we are all so happy to see him sign a new contract extension. And the next bit of contract news now, according to journalist Rich Fay, Ryan Barnett had an automatic extension clause in his contract which was triggered at the end of last season, meaning Barnett is a Wrexham player until the summer of 2026. Now, this hasn't actually been confirmed by the club. The club haven't actually officially said Barnett has, had that automatic extension triggered in his contract. It's probably a similar situation to James McLean. Of course, he triggered his contract extension and then signed that new 2-year deal. So this could well and be the case, because Wrexham have sort of a history, if you want to say, in players having that extension clause and not officially announcing it. So if this is the case, it's gone, like I said, very under the radar, which is a bit strange because he's been one of the most promising players in the EFL this season. And nonetheless, I'm not complaining at all on this potential bit of business, because he is one hell of a player, and I don't care if it gets announced or not. Get Barnett tied down, and that is exactly what this journalist thinks we have done. So I'm very, very happy about that. And everyone who is panicking about possibly losing Barnett on a free next summer can stop panicking, because as things stand and as we know, Barnett is a Wrexham player for another 2 seasons. I think as well, if you're just looking on Barnett's stats as well, he has started this season on fire. 4 assists, 22 successful crosses, 16 chances created and 10 successful dribbles. I've said this on a previous video. I think if Barnett can keep this form throughout the rest of the season, can continue this, fiery form that he's on at the minute, he will be the best wing back in this division by a country mile. And I'm not even joking when I say this. If I'm in Parky's boots right now and a team comes in with a £2 million bid for Barnett, I would laugh at them. You wouldn't even batter an eyelid at that amount of money, because he is promising. He's still relatively young, and I think he's still yet to peak. I think there's still more that we can see from Ryan Barnett, and I think there's more to be had in terms of chance creation, assists, etc. And I'm sure that's something that he'll want to work on this season. But like I said, he has been an instrumental part of the squad in the past couple of seasons, and will play a big role into any success we see at the football club this season. And the next bit of news, this is why you clicked on the video, a big appointment at Wrexham Football Club. We learned last night that New York Times reporter Tariq Panja has reported that Wrexham have appointed former UEFA and Inter Milan employee Rob Faulkner, and the club have announced it this morning. He will start his job on the 1st of December in just, over 2 months' time now. So this is a big move, and a move that has left this reporter shocked after his high-profile involvement in football. He quoted on his tweet, "I would not have thought this happening a few years ago." So he's surprised by that, and I think we're all surprised by it due to the high-profile status that he has had at, like I said, Inter Milan and the UEFA. Now, in 2001, he did become head of communications at UEFA, where he spent 12 years in the job, which would have likely seen him be involved in some big decisions over the years. Now, fast forward to 2015, where Rob landed a huge job at Serie A giants Inter Milan, where he was serving as chief communications and chief marketing producer. In his current job at Inter Milan, he did actually gain a good relationship with current CEO Michael Williamson. It all starts to make sense now. The relationship that they had at Inter Milan has now come to Wrexham Football Club, and this has no doubtedly played a huge role in Rob Faulkner's involvement and move to Wrexham Football Club. Now, if we're looking away from football now, Faulkner has also had higher up roles in the European Athletics, Toyota and Yamaha. So he's been around, he's been in some really big jobs, football and non-football. So getting his experience, his knowledge into the club is going to be massive. And I think he joins as head of communications and marketing. So expect to see better communications when it possibly comes to the fan zone, the COP, contract news, just anything. We'll expect to see that improve massively. And marketing, we thought we were already good at marketing, and we've seen millions and millions and millions of views be used in different areas, where we have promoted certain things. But could we see that again come to the next level, which could draw better sponsors in? There is a big chance of that happening. He'll certainly be a massive addition to the club behind the scenes, and we're slowly starting to develop our experience and quality off the pitch as well as on it, because of course you can have all the best players on the pitch, but if things aren't running freely behind the scenes, you're going to have an issue. Players are going to leave if there are things they're experiencing behind the scenes. But we're slowly starting to get there. Fleur has departed, of course, last season, thank goodness gracious for that. We've of course got Michael Williamson in, and now Faulkner. We've got Rob and Ryan, Sean Harvey, you name it. we've got some really experienced people who are running this club on a day-to-day basis, and we are in very, very good hands. And I think as well, the project, you know, that Rob and Ryan did set out at the start when they first bought the club 4 years ago, it's just starting to feel really real now when we're seeing appointments like this. And the strings Rob and Ryan are pulling behind the scenes are massive, and we've got some, you know, big name people that have worked, like I said, in UEFA. We've got Michael Williamson, who's worked at Inter Milan. We've got Faulkner, who's worked at Inter Milan. We're living in very special times supporting Wrexham Football Club, and it just is, you've just got to pinch yourself every single day to think, am I dreaming? Am I really experiencing what we're going through? And yes, we are. And we're going on to a viewers special now. We're going to be giving a loan watch. Now, only 2 players have been in action over the past week. Starting off with our loanee striker, Billy Waters. Now, Billy Waters actually did score in the second game running for Halifax Town in their 4-2 defeat to Oldham Athletic at Boundary Park in the FA Cup. Disappointing that Halifax didn't get through to the next round, because it could have been a chance for them to possibly join the EFL side and Billy Waters to get that game action against an EFL side. But like I said, they got defeated 4-2. Waters scored again, taking his goal tally to 3 goals in 8 games for Halifax. And it's good to see that he's found his shooting boots, because like I said many a times on the channel before, his confidence was low at Wrexham. So let's hope his confidence can remain high and he can continue scoring goals. Jake Bickerstaff. Now, Bickerstaff hasn't actually featured in either of Altrinchem's 2 FA Cup games they had versus Solihull Moors. They played on Saturday in the 4th round qualifying, drew, and then they had the replay last night, which they lost on penalties. Bickerstaff did not feature at all. Now, there might be something that I'm missing on this, and I might not have done as much research as I should have done on this topic, but as we've seen, Bickerstaff has not featured in the matchday squad at all for both of those games, nor did he feature in the last matchday squad in their defeat to Tamworth. So could this be to possibly an injury to Bickerstaff, or him just not being favoured by manager Phil Parkinson? So it is disappointing to see Bickerstaff not getting that regular game time that you could say was sort of promised when he went to Altrincham, because it's 2 leagues below what we're currently in. We've seen that he's capable of, you know, playing in the EFL. When Paul Mullin was out injured, we saw him take his role really, really well and scored a couple of goals, but it's just disappointing to see him not playing, and it could be the case of him being injured, but if not, I think Parky will be very, very disappointed by this. Moving on, Luke McNicholas is of course injured for a long period of time, and Sam Dolby has had the week off due to the international break, and we'll next see Sam Dolby in action on the weekend as they play Hibernian at home at Tannadice. And finally, we're going to be given a roundup on the reserve team. Now, the reserves were in action yesterday as they took on Preston North End. It ended 4-2 to Preston, with the only notable players in and around the matchday squad being the likes of Mark Howard and Josh Adam. So it looks as if Josh Adam isn't quite there to be in the first team squad yet, but it's good to see he's not suffered an injury which will keep him out for a long period of time. So it's good to see that he's getting the minutes in the bank and getting that match fitness fully up, because he's a promising player, as we've seen last summer with the interest he had when he was at Manchester City. So hopefully it'll be a matter of time before we see him possibly feature against Port Vale in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy. So I think we'd have seen a lot more first team players had it not been for the international break, but nonetheless it's a 4-2 defeat and the reserves just move on to the next game now. So yeah, that is it for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like, make sure to get down there and click the red subscribe button if you are new to the channel. And yeah, bring on Rotherham United away on Saturday, a massive game. There'll be thousands of Reds in that away, and so let's hope for 3 points. Until then, take care guys, up the town.